In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 of the most popular neighborhoods in Orlando that reside all within the amazing master plan community of Lake Nona. Stick around to the end to see exactly what everyone is excited about. Now, just in case you're unfamiliar with the area, let's go ahead and hop over to the map to look at exactly where this place is. Okay, so we have the Lake Nona region right here at the center of the map. Let's go ahead and zoom out to get a solid reference point of where we are as far as Orlando goes. Okay, so now we can see the greater Orlando area. Now we have here on screen the major roadways. Let's go ahead and go in a little bit. So you have the 408, right? That's a toll road. You have the 417, and then you have the 528 right across here. For those that live in Lake Nona, the main way you'd be getting there would be through the 417, depending obviously on where you're coming from, but for the most part, that's what you'll be using. And much of Lake Nona really is at where this crossroads, this intersection of the 417 and Narcoossee Road. So Narcoossee Road itself is where you'll end up going for the majority of your shopping needs. You know, it has your Sam's Club right here. You have your Walmart Supercenter, and then you also have a couple other grocery stores in the area. You have your Aldi right over here. And then you also have a Publix just a little further south, right there. And of course, you have plenty of restaurants all throughout Narcoossee Road. You'll also see here that you'll have the Valencia College Nona campus. You'll also have Lake Nona High School along Narcoossee Road, and then there's also the Lake Nona Middle School. So you can see here that, you know, Narcoossee in general is a fairly vital road. It has a lot of what many residents in Lake Nona would find very convenient to have nearby. Now, another important aspect for many of the residents in Lake Nona is the fact that the 417 right here just gets you about anywhere fairly quickly, including the Orlando International Airport, which is just a couple of minutes away. The neighborhoods that we'll be looking at in this video include the Isles of Lake Nona, which is right here on the map. We'll also be taking a look at Laurel Park, and then also Laurel Point, which is a Toll Brothers community. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at our first community, the Isles of Lake Nona. Still get a lot of room, a lot of house in this area, which is getting a bit tougher as Orlando really runs out of, you know, just room or places to build. I mean, sometimes, you know, it just gets a little hard to find a complete, you know, single family home with plenty of space. I do want to point out one thing here, and that's that between the homes, you don't have a ton of room. These homes here have a little bit more room than a lot of this neighborhood, but for the most part, you know, you're gonna end up being pretty darn close to your neighbors. So like I mentioned just a little bit ago, you can see here they just a bit tighter on the homes. There are areas of Orlando where you do have a lot more room, but not over here. Not on this side of town. Not without paying a good chunk of change to get that kind of lot. Another thing I want to show off here is just these rear loading or rear garage townhomes that they do have. So it's a good option. Definitely, you know, these homes are more on the starter level, or if you just simply, you know, you just don't need a big house, you don't need a huge palace to live in, you know, you don't need a lot of space, then these really could work for you. You don't, you know, especially if you wanted more of that, you know, kind of community feel, community touch, where you're just, you know, right next to your neighbors, you can say hi, you can talk with everyone. That definitely is it's kind of nice to have that option there. So Isles of Lake Nona definitely is still selling. They have plenty of lots to still choose from. Right now, with the way that things have been with rates, you know, they're also trying to get in there and compete for business and offering all kinds of incentives, you know, buying down the rates or bringing it down to, I believe, $4.99, at least right now. But that obviously always is changing. Fortunately, you know, I'm always in touch with the sales reps, I'm always talking to them, trying to get an idea of where things are at, because when people call and reach out, I mean, that's what they want to know, what is current. So if you are interested in this or any of the other communities that are in the area, if you're looking to move to Orlando and want questions about the communities, the schools, maybe just want to know what things are like here, feel free to give me a call and just reach out, because I'd be glad to answer your questions. Now, a couple of last notes on this community is that they have plenty of amenities. I mean, they have not necessarily a resort style pool, but a decent sized pool. Definitely, they have a splash pad, which is nice. They have a gym in there. They have a little center where you can hang out with family, friends. You can definitely do that. They also have a half basketball court. They have, what else do they have? They have a tennis courts. Definitely very nice amenities. The only thing I would say, which I don't think for most people it would be a deal breaker, it's just the size. For the size of this community, those amenities are a little bit smaller than I would want them to be. But again, it's just simply with how beautiful the homes are, the location, those amenities. I mean, for some it might be a deal breaker. If you're looking for like something huge, like you want the resort style pool, you want basketball court, tennis courts, racquetball, you want a large gym, you want a large community center. I mean, there are neighborhoods in the area that do have those, but again, to be able to answer those questions and figure out what it is exactly what you're looking for, you'll have to just reach out. Feel free, ask those questions. If there's something in particular that you're looking for that maybe you haven't seen yet, or aren't sure if it even exists in the area, don't hesitate to give me a call, send me a text, send me an email, whatever it is you need. I definitely have your back if you're relocating to Orlando. Now, wait just 1 minute. We're not quite done with the Isles of Lake Nona yet. I actually went back to take a look at one of the model homes just so I can give you a better idea, a better sense and feel of what the homes in this community look like. Okay, so I'm in Isles of Lake Nona here, and right now I'm standing in front of the Easley Grand. It's probably easily one of my favorites as far as the models that Pulte has to offer. Definitely one of the larger ones if you add the second floor. I'm going to take a quick look inside to see what it kind of has to offer, how big it is. It will give you some idea of the space. Obviously online you can go to their site and pull up all the information, walkthroughs, all that stuff. But I always like to point out the things at least that I personally like, that I would get if I was getting this home. Definitely, I would have to argue it has to be one of my favorite models. Let's go ahead and just do a quick run through. So one of the things I like the most about this particular model is the gourmet kitchen. I really love just like the size of it, just kind of how well put together it is. I mean, there isn't a whole lot to describe. I mean, most of it is going to be seen like in the visual and the photos here. So you can see here that you got those beautiful 4 glass sliding doors, and they are enormous. You can have that open. I'm telling you that it's not hot all year long. It's not terribly hot all year long. Between I'd say October and I want to say even April. This year it's creeped into May. We get pretty decent temperatures. So you can definitely have that bad boy open. The only thing is that the bugs, the little critters, sometimes will make their way in, and I'm telling you right here down in Florida, we have a lot of them. But if you screen that in with a good screen, I mean, it won't be too bad. Got the dining area, and then of course the amazing loft upstairs. We're gonna go ahead and check that out. I wanted to show off the stairs a little bit and this hand railing. I mean, if you didn't know or didn't guess, they're definitely upgrades. So this is the big selling feature for this home. I mean, if you thought the kitchen downstairs, the view out back, I mean, those are all great, but this is the big one here. This is a large room. You can see that they have it set up almost like a at-home classroom. Definitely plenty of space, plenty of room to have the kids upstairs. They can study, they can work, they can play, they can hang out. And then you have this very spacious media room. Plenty of space in there. Which is neat because you don't have to take necessarily space away from here to turn it into a media room. You have your own dedicated area for media. All right, take a quick peek at the rooms. Now, along with that, you got the media room, you have the loft area, and then you have bedroom 1 here. You got your upstairs bathroom here with double sinks. And then you have another bedroom. Okay, so now you have a better idea of what kind of home you can expect in the Isles of Lake Nona. Let's go ahead and switch gears and take a look at Laurel Park. So now let's head over to Laurel Park, another beautifully well put together master plan community. You got this gorgeous entryway. You can see all the oak trees here that eventually will create a canopy to give a lot of shade, which is very needed, well needed here in Florida. Now you can get a little bit of a glimpse of what kind of neighborhood it is. It has all kinds of homes. I mean, you got condos, you got townhomes, you have single family homes as well, you have homes with rear loading garages, you have homes with front loading garages. The one thing I would definitely say about this neighborhood is that, again, and this is again a challenge with much of the greater Orlando area, it's just simply if you want land, you're probably gonna have to go somewhere outside of Orlando, not too far. I mean, Orlando's not that big anyway, but I mean, you won't necessarily find it in these areas, you know. And if you do find it, it's gonna cost you quite a bit, simply because of how, you know, the demand for homes already, you know, pushes the prices, you know, a lot, pushes them up a lot here in Orlando, especially in popular areas like Laurel Park. You see here more, you got some older trees. Get an idea of what the homes look like. Let's go ahead and head down one of these roads. And by the way, these roads here, they often cut through a lot. A couple single families here. Yeah, so again, a lot of the roads here, a lot of the homes, and you can see it on a map that, you know, Laurel Park is kind of somewhat of a grid. You know, I mean, it's not a perfect grid. It's not just all boxes. You know, to definitely try to, you know, kind of avoid that so people aren't speeding through all the time. But yeah, you know, you can pretty much cut up and down Laurel Park through these roads. You got, for the most part, 3 main roads in and out of Laurel Park that go through the community, the neighborhoods. And what's great about that is, again, it comes back to traffic, comes back to commute. Right here on this side, right here, over here on this side, you got their community pool. This Laurel Park would have access to this area. You know, that access to community amenities, community pool. Again, this is a community pool for Laurel Park and Laurel Park. And their fitness center right over here. So I do like Laurel Park for a lot of reasons. I mean, much of it has to do with all the crazy access it has to the hospitals in the area, the access it has to the airport. I mean, you're looking at maybe 15 minutes away, if not less. I mean, you know, depending on what terminal you're using. And then, you know, the easy access to the 417. And the great thing is that, you know, unlike many parts of this greater, like this Lake Nona area, Laurel Park really has kind of that, the best access and the most roads that connect to the 417 fairly easily. So I mean, it does make it so that there are very few chokeholds. Now what's good about that, again, is that with all the residents that are coming to Lake Nona, that are coming to Laurel Park, it makes it so that it's not going to be super congested. And that's one of the things that Tavistock, the developer for the area, has done a really good job. It's not overly congested or impossible to drive through. So that's one of the nice benefits, and really what kind of, and it shows in the prices here, you know, and it shows definitely in the inventory, because there really isn't a whole lot, you know, they're already, you know, the inventory already is not too great. But in popular areas like this, it does make it a bit harder to get a home, just because of the fact that it's such high demand, and all of it comes from the fact that people just simply want to have convenience, they want to have ease, they want to be able to access amenities, they want nice, new, beautiful area, and all the advantages that come with it. As I mentioned before, Laurel Park really is about accessibility and convenience, and one of the key things that I do believe stands out about Laurel Park is the fact that it does have a lot of easy access to much of what's available over on Narcoossee Road and the 417. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean on the map. Okay, so here you can see the Lake Nona area and Laurel Park. For the most part, many of the streets, you can see that they kind of are somewhat in a grid formation, cutting north and south, that goes into the neighborhoods, the living areas of Laurel Park. The three main roadways that would connect east to west are Laureate Boulevard, that'll take you all the way to Narcoossee. Another one that does the same includes Tavistock Lakes Boulevard. And another road that is very important is in the Morris Parkway, which is really important because that one actually sneaks behind the high school and gets you right into the plaza, where you can get to the Sam's Club and Walmart Supercenter fairly easily. So you can see that there is a lot of great access to that Narcoossee Road. You can avoid a lot of the traffic headaches just by using the streets here. Definitely clearly put together, very well planned community. And then heading over to the west, you can gain access to the 417 through the Lake Nona Boulevard. And if that ever gets backed up, I mean, most likely you wouldn't go the other way, which is also through Boggy Creek, but it does give you another option, another way out if you ever needed it. And here you can see, obviously, that based off of how well organized this is, it does help alleviate a lot of the traffic issues. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look inside the Lake Nona Town Center. So one of the cool things are areas like this. They got a couple restaurants. I got Phosphorus behind me. You got Chroma over here. And then you also have my personal favorite, Park Pizza. It's just right over there. Great place to get a brew, get some pizza. I mean, it's definitely a nice area to bring the family. And then obviously you got your grand parking garage right over here, which makes it easy to find parking. I mean, don't get me wrong, it could still get pretty packed on a weekend, on a Friday. Obviously everyone wants to be out, everyone's want to enjoy their weekend, but this is one of those places where you can really spend some time with family, enjoy the views. So right behind me, we got Boxy Park. I think it's one of the nicer areas to hang out. And one of my favorite things about it is that it's very like food truck-esque. They basically took a bunch of shipping containers and decided to cut them out and put all these like little, like nice cuisine. I mean, it's good food. I personally like getting the lobster roll. That's kind of one of the nice things to get there. Definitely worth spending some time there with your family. So that's 2 down and just 1 to go, and the last community, Laurel Point, is one to look at. I went back and had a chance to take a quick sneak peek, drive through the community, just so I can show you exactly what it has to offer. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check out Laurel Point. Gated, beautiful community, definitely very upscale. It's a gated community. It's built out by Toll Brothers. Here in this particular neighborhood, I mean, in all reality, you're buying here for the home. You're buying here for the luxury of the home, not necessarily, acreage, not a lot of land, nothing like that. You're just buying because the homes here are just very high end. It's built by one of my favorite builders, Toll Brothers, and the models here, they have about 10 of them. They're very beautiful, very large. And honestly, here, I mean, what you get in the neighborhood itself. I mean, yes, they got a playground, they got some green spaces, they have a dog park. However, I mean, if you want a pool, if you want gym access, things like that, I mean, for a neighborhood at this price point, you'd think that they would have it here, but in all reality, I mean, you have it in Laurel Park, which is, just right next door. It's not too far. You can definitely, I would say, go on a bit of a longer jog, a longer run to get there, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not something that is right directly in the neighborhood. So that's why I say, if you're buying here, you're just buying because, you know, these homes drew you in. And believe me, that definitely is quite the draw. It's not like they don't have, like, these homes aren't worth, you know, what they're offering. Now I have an extra bonus for you for sticking around to the end. If these communities did not seem like they'd be a good fit for you, well then you're gonna watch this video here next where I cover some of the other popular areas in Orlando.